Hello and welcome to Journey to Union. I'm going to talk today about the role of the divine masculine and what the role of the divine masculine aspect of the journey is. So I covered what the role of the divine feminine is so that you can understand what your role is as the divine feminine. Now I'm going to talk about what the role of the divine masculine is. So we each have our energies inside, and we have masculine and feminine energies. However, we are either embodying the feminine energy, or that's our main polarity, or we are embodying the masculine on the journey. So either you are in the feminine or either you're in the masculine. It's not really based on gender, it's based on the energy. So the role of the divine masculine is, the first thing is that he is the activator. So he's really the one that activates the divine feminine on the journey. So he initially activates her, and then he will activate her throughout the whole journey. So this is energetic activation. This is him coming in, or his energy coming in to activate you on different parts of your journey. And so this is in order to actually speed up the process and for the process to move ahead. So his job, it's not always going to be physical. At the beginning, he comes in as, the physical activator. So when you physically meet, his role is to really be the activator of the process and to activate the divine feminine. So that's what he does at the very beginning. Then when you go into separation, his role becomes more energetic, and her role, the divine feminine, is also very much based in the energetics. And so when we focus more on the energetics of this journey, rather than focusing on the physical, it's going to get easier and the process is going to speed up faster. So this is what I recommend, is to focus on the energetics of the process rather than focusing on what's going on in the physical, the physical stuff that's happening. It is not relevant at all because all of it is energetic. And so the focus is the energetics. So what are we doing to move the process along within us? That's the most important thing. So the divine masculine comes in as an activator on the journey throughout the whole process. He's coming in at certain times to really accelerate the feminine into her process. So the feminine could be, going about her life, nothing's really happening in her life, and then bam, the energy comes in from the divine masculine. And then you're on the ground or you are somehow, there's an activation and you're thinking, what is going on? And so then you realize that it's his energy. He's coming in, he's activating your chakras, or activating you. And this is really his role. His role is the more action based, and he's the one to activate. So that's part of the process that his main role is to really do the activation. So the second thing that he is responsible for on the journey is to trigger the feminine. And so this isn't in a bad way or in a mean way. This is really about the feminine needing to alchemize a lot of things and process things emotionally and go through the Kundalini process. And so the masculine is more out there in the physical world. So he's the one mirroring to her something that has to be integrated, something that has to be processed. And it's basically, he's the one that is allowing his phase of one part of his life that he's in is actually part of the feminine, what the feminine needs to do the polarity integration and healing. So it's actually very much like a mirror. So the divine masculine might get into a relationship or something like that. This is an example. And that could trigger the feminine in on a deep way, and all these wounds could come up and everything can be rising because of whatever the divine masculine is doing in the external world, in the physical world. And at that point, you're going to be very connected to him, and that's when you know that that's a lesson for you in there. Sometimes we disconnect from the divine masculine, and that's because he has to learn something that it doesn't really concern you at that moment. So that is something that he has to process. But there are times where he is actually in some relationship or something he's doing externally that's triggering the divine feminine into her healing and polarity integration, and going further into actually accelerating this process and triggering those necessary wounds within that have to be released. And so there's a lot that could come up through this process for the feminine. And at that point, you could be actually hating the divine masculine, or you could be thinking like he is doing everything against me, and there could be a lot of things that come up. And actually, a lot of it is because he's doing it for you. And it sounds really crazy, but that's the realization that I came to understand after the whole process was over in this what his role of triggering the feminine. I understood that it was actually because he was doing it for the feminine. He was doing it all for the feminine. And that's what he does. He does things that will actually amplify the healing process for the feminine. So he will do things that will trigger the feminine, and he's doing it for you. So you have to know that, and you have to understand that this is all a mirror. This is your soul. This is you in another reality and in another dimension. And it's basically, this is what it is. It's a mirror. It's you. It's you in the divine masculine, or in the opposite polarity to your soul. So it's doing everything for you, right? It's happening for you, for your healing process. And that could affect all of these different core wounds that we have, because on this journey you're healing these core wounds that you have, and a lot of this will come up for you when this happens. So the core wounds have to be released. And this is what it is. This is what's being triggered here. This is what has to be released. So that's what's happening in this through this process of him triggering the feminine. So the third thing that he's responsible for as a divine masculine is to protect the feminine, or protect the shared energy, protect the union. And so this is very much a masculine role. He's there to protect. And then once he comes in more in the physical, his role is a lot bigger than when you are in separation, obviously, because he's more of the physical twin. So when you're in separation, most of the work is done by the feminine, because the feminine has to be the one to actually achieve inner union. That's her role. She has to actually be the one to achieve inner union within her. That is the role of the feminine. She's doing more of the internal work. Then the divine masculine is the one that's going to step up in the external world, and his role is to protect the feminine, protect the energy, and really make sure that the process is moving ahead, that the feminine is getting what she needs, getting activated, getting protection, getting help. Sometimes when we feel very stuck on the journey, we can feel like, okay, I need help, and then you can call your divine masculine in, your polarity self, not call physically. You can call their energy in, or their higher self, and it'll actually help you on your journey. So the role of the divine masculine is very much the protective role, and that's what he'll play more in, obviously, in the physical world. But in the energetic, he's very much protecting the energy and making sure that the feminine is getting help and getting the activation that she needs to move forward. So he does come in to do that on the energetic level. So the number 4 thing that the divine masculine is responsible for is the grounding, the connection into the physical. So he's responsible for really grounding the connection into the physical world. And this is really about him coming in to make sure that the physical union happens. So it's the feminine is not responsible for physical union. Okay, so if you're the feminine, you're not responsible for the physical union, and the physical union is never going to happen until you get into inner union, until you achieve inner union. That is your role. That happens in separation. That happens when you go on your journey and do the inner union work. That's your role as a feminine. You are not responsible for trying to make the physical union happen. That is not of your concern, and you should let that go. And there shouldn't be any, runner chaser in a situation happening, because it should be very much everyone's doing their part and everyone's playing their role as they should. And you need to start to understand the masculine and feminine dynamics and what each is responsible for and what you're responsible for on the journey, and take your role seriously and understand your role on the journey, because that's the only way you're going to shift and you're going to actually get somewhere on this journey. Focusing on the physical process, that you want the physical union. You are at the beginning of the journey, that's where everyone is, and you're feeding that obsessive energy, which I am not going to feed on my channel. My channel is focused very much on the ways to actually achieve inner union for the feminine, and how to actually do that. That's what my channel is focused on. That's what my videos are going to be focused on, and that is really what I want to teach. And I want to focus on the mechanics, the energetics, understanding the journey on a bigger level in terms of the mechanics and the energetics to do with the whole process, rather than focusing on feeding the lower energies of this journey, which is a phase. However, you need to really figure out the higher meaning of the process and really understand your role in this journey. And so this is what it is. And so the divine masculine, he is very much in the physical world. He is very much doing things, still very much in the physical reality. And he doesn't get activated so much until the feminine has gone through her process and has achieved, has started to achieve the inner union process, because that's what the feminine is responsible for. And that's when then she can influence the masculine to go on to his process as well, to actually activate, because that's what's happening within you in terms of law of polarity and law of energetics. The feminine goes first, the masculine follows. This is the law. So the feminine has to be the leader in this whole process, has to be the one to actually do the internal work, achieve inner union, come into inner union, inner balance. And that is what's so important in this whole process. That activates and accelerates the masculine into his process, into his accelerated, whatever he has to go through to achieve purification and, come back into the heart space. And this is what's so important for his process as well, because that is what the feminine is doing. So that is what's needed to be done on the journey. So it's really much about the focus is for the divine masculine is on the external and really continuing, his journey in the external world. But the feminine is the one that has to shift everything, because she's shifting herself internally. And so this process happens very naturally, and there's nothing that you can do to accelerate the process except for focus on your own ascension and your own role, okay? And so this is what you need to focus on. And this will speed up everything and get you out of suffering. And because everyone has their assigned role in this, and we have to just keep focused on what we are here to do. And we are not chasing anyone. We're not going to be chasing the divine masculine. We are only focusing on ourselves and on getting into inner union with ourselves and with Source. That's really our goal. And then the divine masculine, if he is your true divine masculine, he has to go through the process, and then he has to ground the union into the physical. So I hope that this helps you and helps you understand what the divine masculine is responsible for. Thank you so much for the comments and everyone who has commented, all the likes. Please share the video. Please like the video. And I send you lots of love, and I'll speak to you in the next video.